Saturday morning. It's going to be a great Badger-Packer weekend.
Yeah.
And so we're excited about that. Then when we win both of those games, we're going to win on November 4th with your help. So that's 8,400. 8,400 new private sector jobs were created last month. That's the best September we've had in more than a decade. How about that? As Rebecca mentioned, we have the lowest unemployment rate we've had since October of 2008, so nearly 6 years ago. Things are humming along, and year over year, from September of last year to September of this year, we rank number 4. Fourth in the Midwest for private sector job creation. Not last, fourth. That's the third month in a row we've been in the top 4. Now, as Rebecca mentioned, we've got great news when it comes to the economy. We're heading the right direction, over 110,000 new jobs. We've seen this great turnaround the last few months, in particular in terms of year-over-year statistics. We took a $3.6 billion budget deficit and turned it into a surplus, and we did it the old-fashioned way. We actually paid our bills off. And in fact, when we got our surplus earlier this year, we said, instead of keeping it at Madison, we said we were going to send it back to the hardworking taxpayers. We lowered property and income taxes, as Rebecca just mentioned, $322 for a typical family. That's a pretty good deal, right? But when we did that, my opponent and other liberals in Madison said, you can't do that. You need to keep the money in Madison. Well, I got to tell you, whether I come to West Dallas or Wauwatosa or anywhere else outside of Madison, the people in this state don't say to me, hey, Scott, I don't send enough of my money to Madison. They don't say my taxes are too low or that they're just about right, like my opponent says. They say if you want to continue the economic recovery that got us a surplus in the first place, keep putting that money back in the hard-working taxpayers' hands. As long as I'm governor and Rebecca Clayfish is your lieutenant governor, we're going to keep sending surplus dollars back to the hard-working taxpayers to build a better economy. But let's be clear, there are people in Washington who don't like that. There's a reason why Bill Clinton came in yesterday. There's a reason why the President of the United States comes in on Tuesday. Because my opponent is a candidate of Washington. Washington, D.C. and the special interest group in our nation's capital, they want a new governor of Wisconsin. You know why? Because we took their power away. We took the power away from the big government special interests that tried to dictate things from Washington, and we put that power back in the hands of the Wisconsin taxpayers. So they can send all the surrogates, they can send all the people from Washington they want into Wisconsin, but in the end, we're going to keep standing up for the Wisconsin taxpayers, and if you help stand up with us, we'll continue to win for Wisconsin and say, Washington, get out of Wisconsin. We know best in Wisconsin what's best for our people. And so finally, I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for coming out here today. Thank you for what you're going to do between now and November 4th. Thank you to the people you're reaching out to. And I'm telling them, I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your vote and your support on November 4th. And I'm asking for it not on my behalf. It's going to trucker the election. I'm asking for your support and the doubling down to help us out. You know, if you were planning to go away tomorrow, postpone that trip and stay back in town and do some more doors. If you're going to see the grandkids next weekend out of state, go get them, pick them up, and bring them back and do some doors or make some calls. Because we got too much at stake in this election. We need people here in all our victory centers around the state, knocking on doors, making calls, reaching out to neighbors. When you go to church or the synagogue or wherever you might go to worship this week and the next, we need you to reach out. We need you to reach out at work. We need you to reach out when you drop the kids off at school or talk to kids in playgroup or whatever it might be. Because there's just too much at stake. And I ask for your vote and your support and your extra effort, not on my behalf. Not even on behalf of Tonette and I, who love being a team, working together, proud to represent this state. I ask for it on behalf of Matt and Alex, because you see, more than 4 years ago, Tonette and I got in this race. And we got in that race back then because we were afraid under the old regime. We were afraid that this state was heading in the direction that our sons would grow up in a state that wasn't as great as the Wisconsin we grew up in. And I got to tell you, as a parent, that was just unacceptable. And so we got in this election for governor. We won the election, and more importantly, once we took office, we had some pretty tough decisions. And I tell people all across the state, they may not agree with every decision I make, they may not agree with every step I've taken along the way, but I hope people around the state can see that my motives were pure, that it was for Matt, and for Alex, and for Ella, and for Violet, and for all the other sons and daughters like them. And I'm proud to say today that because of our reforms, for all those sons and daughters, for all those grandsons and granddaughters and those yet to be born, they're growing up in a Wisconsin that's even better than the Wisconsin we grew up in. I ask for your vote and your support today, not on my behalf, but on behalf of their generation and those to come, to make sure we don't go backwards. We don't want to go back to the mess we had in the Doyle Burke days. We don't want to go back to the mess that Washington tries to impose on our state. We want to go together, forward, and continue to make this state. It is much better than it was 4 years ago. With your help, we're going to move Wisconsin forward to even better things over the next 4 years.